Hey, it's Matthew. So, here we are. And today I want to talk about how to make a lot of money. You know, I had a friend of mine reach out today through Facebook, and you're probably watching this video. So I want to address this because he mentioned that, there's a lot of good in the teachings that he's received from, the ministry so far. But he said there's holes in it, like it's not complete, etc. And it pertained to particularly making money, right? And I just want to submit to you that there was no holes in that, because back when I announced the offering in cryptocurrencies back in 2018, had you gotten that program and had you allocated to the same models that our ministry did, you would have probably, we are up about, the ministry has done tremendously well, let's put it that way. So what I'm telling you is that whenever you perceive a hole in someone's teaching, what you're doing is you're projecting where your cloud of disbelief has set in. Because the truth is in plain sight. It is forever omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Because there's only one mind, one power, one presence. The truth is right here. It's always right with you. It's closer than a friend, the Christ within, the all-knowing mind that you emanate from. So, if you are looking through the all-knowing mind that you emanate from and perceiving yourself, under the guidance of a mentor, under the, whatever it is, under the teaching of somebody, you have chose that person to reflect to you something that is within yourself. Now, what you want to understand is that if there is a block to prosperity, there is a reason for that, and it has to do with how you look at the world. You are looking at the world through the lens of your own subjective interpretation of things as they are, according to you, your five senses. Now, what your experience is of the world does not relate to everyone's experience. Two people could be standing together on the same corner, and one of them makes many millions of dollars per year, and the other one is a street pauper, lives in a cardboard box. Well, not to belittle somebody who may be a stoic in the sense they want to live in a cardboard box and they don't need anything from the world, because this person in the box might be richer than the person who has millions of dollars. Now, that's a true story, because poverty is a state of being. It doesn't have a figure attached to it. I know people who have very little money, and they are richer than people that I know that have lots and lots and lots of money. I know people that have lots of money that have terrible health, that have poor relationships, that are struggling to find happiness in day-to-day living, even though they have lots and lots and lots and lots of money. And I know the same thing is true with people who have no money. So let's first define what the mission is. You want to have a lot of material substance. So the first thing to understand is there is no material substance. We want to remove that thought from your thinking altogether. Spirit is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, substance, eternal life, real. Divine love is what meets every human need, always has, always does, always will. So, we need to draw power away from this world, and we need to look to the source of all things. And we need to emanate as if we are the source of all things first and foremost. In other words, being rich is a state. Being rich is a consciousness. Being rich is something you project and start to see everywhere in your world when you are that in your heart. Think about that, because that's the correction that your mind needs to make before you will start to emanate riches from within outwardly. Okay? Now, I'm not just talking about money, and I don't think you're rich just because you have money. You're rich when you have all supply, when you have divine healing at your beck and call, because God is your life and you recognize that. You have spiritual awareness. All of your material needs are met because divine love is your source, and you recognize that. You walk in gratitude. Gratitude is riches, by the way. So when you are perpetually in a state of gratitude, you will project outwardly and receive the harvest because you are putting it into your world, because that's the seed that you are offering to the world. So if your finances suck, it's because your state of being is out of alignment with gratitude, and you are not putting it forth, and you're not being specific, and you don't have a reason for the money, probably other than selfish desire, because there's no drawing force in that. Now, for instance, one of the reasons why the ministry did really, really, really well is because I don't take money from my own ministry. There are certain small occasions that I've taken loans to live on during times within the ministry when my business was censored, etc. But I don't take the money out of ministry holdings and say, this is my money, okay? Now, there's a big difference there. If you're doing something just for yourself, it doesn't have much draw, it doesn't have much appeal. So if you can think bigger than that, that's a huge place to start, because it puts you in the heart condition of giving gratitude and love. You become the source, just like God is the source for you. So therefore you're in the will of the Father because you're doing the Father's business. It's a giving nature. It's a producing for others nature. So what drives me is the excellence of providing material that transforms lives. I like what I do. For instance, this book right here, I believe, can change your life wholeheartedly on every level if you are willing to receive the message. And I talk a lot about how to make money in here. I talk a lot about the principles, tithing, following the fastest path to your joy, being grateful as a state of riches. In fact, Ulla Arvid wrote the chapter 4 on that. I think it is the most complete manifesto on the law of attraction ever in just that chapter. And it's all right here, and it includes a free workshop to go along with it. Now, my question is, if you're not manifesting money to your heart's desire, did you read this book from front to back, and did you follow every lesson in the book? See, here's what people do mistakenly, and this is the number one dysfunctional habit of, the human mind, is that they believe that taking information in is the same as actually applying information, and they are worlds apart. Now, here's an example. I can go and say, hey, did you get in my WBIG crypto offering that the ministry put out in 2018? And did you see all those picks that we put out that were all, chosen from some of the best minds out there? Did you do anything about it? Did you get positioned in them right away? Did you jump on it immediately? And 9 out of 10 people can truthfully say no, they didn't. They thought that just looking at it was enough. They thought that just knowing was going to produce a result. And you see, there's the disconnect. Knowing does not produce the result. Okay? What produces the result is when you see the yin and the yang, when your divine action and the allowing converge together, and then you complete the cycle of creation. You see? The male seed, the male seed and the female egg, right? The law of the sperm, chapter 1 in my new book, Trust. If you understand that you are the source of everything that you manifest, it's you pressed outward. And I'll put it to you like this. If you can't manifest $1 million in a year, okay, you're not trying. You're absolutely not giving your full potential if money is your goal. If you don't care and money's not that important to you, then who cares? It's a moot conversation. Prosperity is simply having more than you need and the ability to lend. That's all it is. But if money's your goal and you set your bullseye and you said, money's my goal, I judge my results by the scorecard of money. I'd say if you're not manifesting at least $1 million or more, especially today with all of the money printing, when there's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars circulating out there, if a million of that, at least a million of that's not inflating in the bubble of your assets, and you're not seeing that, then it's either A, not a true goal, you really don't want it, you just pretend you do, or B, you're simply taking information in and you're not applying, you're not doing it. You're pretending to do it, but you're not actually doing it because you have fear. It's always fear that disrupts the continuity of goodness in your life at some level. So you know, if the supply seems to be broken, it's because there is a fear that is sitting in the middle of your reasoning mind and disrupting the supply of good that is forever, eternally from the Father to you. That's it. Now, here's a little piece of advice I'd give you on a side note. Nobody cares about your greatest idea. Nobody cares about your business. Nobody cares about, you know, the fact that you need money. They don't care. Nobody cares. Now, I say that generally speaking. Some people do. But when I say it to you like this, what I want to say to you is that if you look at things as they are, you will see that 1% of the population always controls 99% of the wealth. Just look at it for what it is. Please, just see reality for what it is. 1% of the population controls 99% of the wealth. Are they allocating their money into the same crap that you're buying? Chances are, no. They're not doing multi-level marketing businesses. They're not doing, you know, whatever you're doing on the most part. Okay, because if you were doing what they were doing, then you would be experiencing the same inflated bubble gains that they are getting, because they are taking their capital that seeks a place to find increase, and they are putting it into these asset bubbles that are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. And if you are not doing the same thing, then what are you doing? Because the cost of your labor is getting stolen with all of the money printing. So if your belief is that you're going to work your way into prosperity, then you have to understand that trading time for dollars is getting harder and harder and harder, because the value of the dollar is collapsing, and it's going to require, by just this year alone, about 23 to 25% more just to keep up. So what do? Well, here's what I recommend. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and it talks about the principles of the 10-10-10, spiritual principles. I've taught this over and over again. Now, if you're not making all the money that you say you want to make, then let me break it down to you. I have taught this on many occasions. I teach it on my website. So if you say you're following all my teachings and there's a huge gap in it, let me just be real with you. Are you doing the 10-10-10? Are you tithing 10% to God, knowing that all supply comes from God to man, and there is no middleman? God, direct to man. It's a form of honor up and favor down. It's a biblical principle. Bam, step number one. Step number two, 10% to your own treasury. That doesn't get spent no matter what. That is for you to build the consciousness of deservingness, supply on hand, because having shall be given more. The third 10 is to, get this, hold on, pay attention to me. It's to invest wisely. Like what I talked about back in 2018, when I looked at the track record of the best crypto investor of all time, Teeka Tiwari, making, 17,000% gain, 4,000% gains, 300, 500, 700, even 137,000% gains on some of the picks he made. He helped so many people transform a few $100s into life-changing lump sums of income, right? Did you do that? If you didn't do that, then you can't blame anybody, because guess what? People were out there talking about it. In fact, I was out there talking about it. Now, what are you going to do now? Well, it's never too late, because God's fresh supply of ideas are forever coming to man, which means you manifest. 1 second, I got to plug this password in. Now, since God's ideas are forever coming to you, I have an idea for you. Tika Tiwari is going to announce another one. All right. There are so many people out there announcing where all the big money's going. Let me give you an example of something I did as the, I guess you'd say I'm the responsible person for the ministry, right? It's my duty to oversee the ministry and what, happens with funds that come into the ministry, right? So as a good steward, what I do is I look up all of the billionaires like Tim Draper and Mark Cuban, and I look at what Tika's doing. I look at what everybody who, get this, pay attention to me closely, everybody who has a lot of money. The reason why they have a lot of money is because they know what they're doing. I look at what the people that know what they're doing are doing. Get this, I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I say, what are the people that have always controlled the money? What are they doing with the money? What are they going to do with their money now? And it's so easy because I look at what companies they're tied into. Many of them are tied into some hedge funds and some venture capital firms. And I look at the portfolios, and then I look at the common denominators, and guess what? I see a lot of them coming up in the DeFi space. MakerDAO, CELO. There's all kinds of these new innovative tech, blockchain, cryptocurrency innovations, as well as stocks that they are putting all of their capital in. See, money is always moving. You want to be in the place where the money is going, just like if you played sports. So get this, 10, 10, 10, right? Let's say you say, oh, I don't have any money, I can't invest. And I say, you're not seeing reality for what it is. Whoever is a good steward over little will be given plenty. If you're not a good steward with little, then you shouldn't have plenty because you don't know how to handle a little bit. If you can't apply principles to $100 a week, you should not have $100,000 a week because you don't know what you're doing. Money is energy, all right? Now, let's say you say, well, I don't have any money. I'd say, here's an idea for you. Why don't you go figure out how to get money by working, okay? By providing services for people to get money, by selling things, learn how to sell, learn a skill, do whatever talent you have. It's the parable of the talents. Use your talent. See, most people are so afraid of using something or giving something. Oh, I can't give any money, I'll be less than. Do you know that the secret to getting money is to give because it breaks the fear of holding and the hoarding mentality? If you give of yourself, just like I do, I give 100% in the gym every workout, mostly. And what I happen to do is I get stronger and faster every year. How does that work? I'm giving 100. See, to him who has shall be given more. So the fact that I'm giving means I have. I'm expressing the beingness of having. So go out and give 100 at whatever you do and get money. Go and get it. Go and gather it up. Okay? Ask God to show you where the money is. And then tune into the feeling of having it because God's supply is direct to you. And as soon as you feel that connection of divine love, your outward experience has to reveal to you an opportunity because there is no blockage anywhere in the universe. There's no breakage in the continuity of good other than your own disbelief. So go get some money. Let's say you get $500 a week. 10, 10, 10. 10%, $50 to your spiritual nourishment. Whoever feeds you spiritually, your church, your minister, your synagogue, your spiritual advisor, tie into that consciousness and give it away without any expectations. Don't hold strings attached. Oh, I tithed last week, I should get special service. No. When you give with a joyful, grateful heart. It's gone. Boom. It doesn't matter. It comes back to you, okay? Here's the deal. The next 10%, don't let loose of it whatsoever. Take it and stash it under your pillow. Do whatever you want with it. Buy some gold, buy some silver, something that pretends to hold its value, and stick it away so that you think, I am getting richer and richer. Every time I get money, a portion of that is mine to keep. I am getting richer and richer and richer, and the feeling starts to multiply of being richer, and the discipline of being a good steward with a little money starts to kick in every week. You're building a financial discipline, and you can start with nothing, and I promise you, you can make over $1 million this year if you listen to what I say. I'm not making this stuff up, because right now, the greatest wealth transfer that has ever existed in the history of your life is happening. And if you're missing it, it's because you're out there being distracted by all the mesmerism of the, oh, look at all the bad stuff happening. Look at all the bad people. You're not seeing the big picture. One thing I do is I have a playbook, and I look at my specific goals every single day to keep them on top of mind awareness, and then I build my habits around those every single day. Now, 10% to you. The third 10%, well, what are all these super rich billionaires actually doing behind the scenes that you could take advantage of now too? Is there another opportunity to take $500 and turn it into $100,000? I submit to you, absolutely. I submit to you that God will show you how to find it. I submit to you that when you start being disciplined and you start looking at your goals every day, I am earning over $1 million this year. I am driving my dream car. I am living in my dream home. I am with the lover of my dreams. I am in the perfect body. I am full of joy and gratitude every day. I am. And you look at those things every day, top of mind awareness 3 times a day. You do your nightly meditation. I've made audios to help you. I impart the consciousness right to you in those audios. Now look, I can tell you $1 million, easy peasy. All right? If you're not doing it, then it's just not that important to you, or you don't listen. It's a choice. It's not hard. Because look at it like this. Other people are doing it, and they're making it easy. They're making it look simple. They're not doing what you're doing because they're not being who you're being. Now, when you change who you're being, when you come from riches, step 1, and you align with the feeling and the discipline, okay, step 2, and then you start to model the behavior of step 3, model the behavior of those that are doing it, getting in the same vehicles they are, putting your little bit to work, that little will become a lot, and a lot, and a lot, and a lot. You see, when I first did this back in 2013, I followed the 10-10-10. Now, it wasn't 2013. It was actually 2011 when it started. 2010 officially. 2011 is kicking into high gear. Okay, I had just gotten off of bankruptcy. I had just come from poverty and being sick and all this stuff, right? Nothing, no job, no nothing. I started from scratch with nothing. But I had all of these things in place. And you see, I remember when I first had that first feeling of, a few thousand laying around, then it was like 80,000, then it was several 100,000, and then the business was doing millions. Okay? That happened in a couple short years because of the principles behind it. Okay? So there is no gap. The only gap is in your thought. And it's a reasoning thing of where you are interjecting your doubt and your disbelief. So you can't blame anybody outside of yourself. And it's a moot point to try to do that, because then you lose your power. I don't blame anybody for their teachings. If I reach out and get some teachings from people, they are not responsible, because completeness is and lack is not. And there is no lack in any point of the universe. So if I put out a mentor in my hologram to learn from, okay, expressing myself outward, I see it for what it is. Okay? I hope you get something from this, and by all means, recognize that this is not that big of a deal. And if you don't do it now, I'm just going to tell you the straight up cold hard facts. From what I know to be true from the people that I modeled and I listened to, 2019, 2020, 2021, all the way through 2027, according to the World Economic Forum, they predict blockchain tech will grow 295,000%. That's over 4,000% a year. Are you tapping into anything like that? Are you trying to build all of your time and energy into some vehicle that's not producing anything like that? Then why are you not modeling the people that are doing it? Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel or to be smarter than those who are the best of the best at what they do? The reason why you're not is because you're not listening. You're not following what already is. Okay? Apply your spiritual principles so that the grace of God leads you into all these paths, and then model what the best of the best of the best do. That's why when I like to learn about fitness, who did I study? The Navy SEALs, because I was coming from bedridden. You know what I can do today? I can do stuff today that I couldn't do at half my age, and that's post-Lyme disease, right? Okay. Why did I study Mary Baker Eddy, and why did I study people like Phineas Parkhurst Quimby and John G. Lake, people like that, when I was thinking about healing? Because they were the best of the best of the best. They learned what Jesus was saying. They modeled and exemplified what Jesus did. Jesus said we're supposed to be doing it. They were doing it. That's why I modeled them. So when I was afflicted on many occasions, you see, I turned to the best of the best to help me, just like I did with finances. Who are you modeling? And pay particular attention. How's that working out for you? You have to take full responsibility for everything going on in your world. Now, when people say to me, well, you never really show us how to make money, you never really did any of that. Let me just bring it back to the point. I could probably show you about a dozen times when I announced, hey, get into W Big. In fact, there were 50-some people that got into W Big, and what I did, it was a research sharing group. And I took all of the best minds in the crypto space that we paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from the ministry to get all of their intel. And I compiled it all into step-by-step things and the blueprints and everything that they said to look at and to, perceive as, hey, this might be a good thing. The difference between those who just looked at it and they said, wow, that's really neat, and those that actually did it and applied it is probably the difference between financial freedom and hardship. Because it's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. And that's something, if you dial it in right now, because it's not too late. In fact, you are so early to the game. There is so much going on in the world. There is so much money out there that if you're not in the game and you're not doing it, it's because you simply don't care, or you're not willing to try, or you're not willing to change because it's an ego thing. Whatever it is, find out what's holding you back and change it. Because I submit to you that even if you started with nothing and pennies in your pocket, you can easily make $1 million this year if you follow the advice I just gave you. I've done it in my life, and I know that there's nothing special about how I did it. It's just the mechanics of what I told you in these 3 steps and doing it. Not thinking about it, doing it. Doing it, doing it, and doing it. Fearlessly, with faith. Okay? And then applying the other spiritual teachings, that I taught, how to just keep your mind. You got to keep your mind renewed daily. Don't get distracted, is what I'm saying. The reason why you do spiritual stuff is so that you can be of one mind. Because distraction is of the devil, okay? Distraction is the only reason men fail. Distraction. Distraction is the only reason why you don't do what you think you're supposed to do. You're distracted all the time. Distract is defeat. You get delayed and then you get defeated because you start to punish yourself because you know you're not doing what you said you're going to do. And then you turn on yourself with your reasoning mind and beat yourself up for not doing what you said you're going to do. Because you blame it on somebody else or you blame it on something. You always want to blame it on something. There's no one to blame and there's nothing to blame because there's only God. First principle thinking. God is all there is. Let's put the guard of truth on. Ready? I'm going to put the full armor of God on and I'm going to bust your doubting mind right now. The belt of truth is that God is all. There's only one mind, one power, and one presence. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear no other story. Put on the breastplate of righteousness. That means to connect with goodness. I live, move, and have my being in God. Spirit, not matter. Spirit. Now, put the shoe shot of peace, right? If I hold my peace, God fights my battles. You get that? The shield of faith, that means I trust God. Why? Because it's his life, not mine. I reflect his life. That's the helmet of salvation. See, helm, control. I control what goes on here. I am the reflection of God. I don't make up a mystical God and point it in the sky like all the heathens do, clothing God in man's image. That's blasphemy. That's Satan. I know that I am the reflected principle of spirit that is forever unchanging goodness, and I can only demonstrate what that principle is doing because I am the reflection of it. First principle. And then the sword of faith, see? That's when I come at it and I cut off. I cut off all that doesn't apply. I call it a lie and I deny it. Deny, deny, deny. There's no blockage in any goodness because God is forever omnipresent. God's the only power here. Boom, deny the blockage. Wait, it's because you're not smart enough, right? Oh, guess what? There's only one mind. God's mind, I reflect it. Boom, cut that lie off. Oh, it's because I don't have the right connections. Oh, there's only one presence and we're all in it, right? I live, move, and have my being in God. That means I'm connected to God. Cool, cut that lie off. You see? That's the whole armor of God right there. See, when you start to do these things and you start to aim your focus, engineer your focus 3 times a day, look at your statements 3 times a day, fall asleep in it at night so that your unconscious mind, whatever they call it, can go to work for you, right? Start to work for you all the time. And get wisdom. Read this book. Do the course. See, I put this together for you. I put this together so I would never forget. I put this together so that my kids would have a legacy when they get older and they say, hey, we need some wisdom. I can say right here, here's your book. It has a course for you. If you apply this, I know it works not because I said so, because I have proven it time and time and time again in every area of my life. Relationships, health, and money. Boom. Done deal. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Applied. Not just thinking about it. Just go out and do it. If you heard me, now it's on you. I challenge you. Can you make $1 million this year? I think you're selling yourself short if you don't think you can at least do one. I think you could probably do as much as you can possibly conceive of if you really wanted it. Why would you want it? Why would you want it? Here's what I recommend to you. Don't think for personal gain. Look, I'm not out here driving a Bentley and a Ferrari and trying to impress people that don't even care. I don't give a crap what they think because I don't need it. Can I have it? Of course. Here, let me submit this to you. It's not about you. Why do you want to do it? I want to do it to show my kids what it feels like to be a winner, right? Something bigger than you. Make it bigger than you so that you wake up every morning unstoppable in your resolve to do what you said you're going to do. You can't make it about yourself because there's nothing there. If you get everything, I did that in 2013, my 8,500 square foot palace, everything I wanted, it was all for me back then. I thought, wow, when I finally got it, I thought, this is me. I'm going to show the world how great I am. Nobody cared. Not a single person. In fact, they resented me. So who cares? It wasn't supposed to be about me. You know what it was about? It was about overcoming limitations. Lyme disease argued that I would never have my health back. I trained like a pro athlete. At age 44, I trained like an extreme athlete. Poverty said that I would never have the means to do anything. Well, I guess I changed that story. Now, what story is standing in your way? It's not his story because history is God's story, his story. Change your past, control your present, and you will dominate your future. Okay? Change your past by ceasing, zip your lip, stop telling people how bad it's been for you. Stop repeating that regurgitated nonsense. That's fool's gold. Nobody cares. That's what I told you. Nobody cares. Why? Because they're doing the same thing. There's no value in it. Supply is too high. Demand is very low. Nobody wants to hear your crap. Okay? Supply is high. Everybody's full of crap. Demand is low. Nobody wants yours. Flip the game. Supply is low, demand is high. What do they want? They want real gold. They want wisdom. Change the game. I wasn't born of flesh. I was born of my Father, God, Spirit. I've never left heaven. Who talks to you like that? Jesus talked like that. Jesus, Messiah, talked like that. Do you talk like mortals or do you talk like Christ? See, that tells me who you're being. Now, your behavior should model who you're being, and you should be looking for clues. Whoever's doing it, you should be modeling what they're doing, because the reason why they have the money is because they know more than you. And so, guess what? I could just cherry pick what they're doing. We've just cherry picked what they're doing. It's so simple. It's like mind-numbing simple. It was the most mind-numbing simple thing in the world. Let that sink in. See you next time.